Good evening, everybody. This is Jeremiah's JMan Monero with JMan Talks live real estate show. I just made that up on the fly. We're here this evening with my good buddy, Joseph Sinnona. How are you, sir?
Good, Jeremiah. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. You know, a little bit of a challenging day in real estate, but I'm going to let that go. We're going to be talking about some exciting stuff. But for those of the folks who might be watching who don't know you, maybe just introduce yourself, where you're from, a little bit of your background, and I'll do the same.
Okay, so my name is Joe Sinnona, and I'm sorry I'm broadcasting you live from my car. Just hit a snag of traffic, so I decided this was the best way to do a broadcast is through my car. I'm a licensed real estate agent and former broker of Joe Sinnona Realty, who is working in his own hometown of Long Beach, New York, and I've been in the business 28 years. I love real estate, and I think it's a great business. 7 days a week.
Every day's a new adventure, unlimited income, flexible hours, right?
Correct.
So a little bit of your background throughout the 28 years. So you've been in all facets of a company, right? You've been manager, you've been sales agent, so you kind of have a pretty wide array of experience in real estate, would you say?
Yes, I do, and it just gets better and better, and you can never stop learning the business. Every day is a new adventure, like you say, and you learn something new every day, even though you have all that experience.
So a little bit about me, for those who don't know my real estate background. I have been in the business now going on my 13th year. I'm an associate broker in my home market of Rochester, New York. So a little bit different than Long Beach, Long Island, but still we're in the people business. And before I was in real estate, not many people know this, but I was in outside sales. I started out door knocking. Okay. I door knocked all 5 boroughs, Nassau, Suffolk County, for an ADT security company. I started out as a salesperson, worked my way up to sales manager, from there to a district manager, from a district manager to a regional manager. By the time I left, I was in charge of New York Metro as well as the Capital District. So I am no stranger to cold calling. No does not exist in my vocabulary. It's just, what is it, Joe? Is it 5 no's before you get to a yes? Is that the rule?
5 no's before you get to a yes. And for every no, somebody once told me it's $10 a no. So think about how much money you're never going to make just saying no, right?
Yeah. It's funny, broadcasting from the car. I know when there's brake lights in front of you because it turns red in the car. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I thought it was me blushing.
But let's talk. So you teach licensing, and a lot of folks may wonder about our real estate accelerator program, or real estate rockstar, or new agent success systems. I don't know. We don't really have a title yet, but
we know it's a boot camp. We know it's definitely going to be a boot camp for realtors to get better at what they do.
Definitely going to be a boot camp. But what do you think? So tell us what you do now as far as the licensing is concerned, and some of the feedback you've heard from agents.
Well, some of the challenges that new agents have go back into pre-licensing classes. They're not being pre-trained. They're learning from a book. And they're learning from the book that basically the Department of State in their town requires, or their state requires them to have 75 hours worth of instruction. And then they're off and they find a broker, they take the state test, they find a broker, and then that's it. And then begins a whole new level of training for the companies that they are going to have their license, hung up in. So that's where the education, I believe, there's a disconnect. Because some managers, some brokers don't have the time. They don't want to devote the time to train their agents to learn. So they send them back to the associations to learn from us instructors, and us instructors are teaching them a specialty class, which there's nothing wrong with it, by the way. There's nothing wrong with having designations. There's nothing wrong with having some sort of professional development. So I strongly urge that as well. But we don't have a set plan, a set course of action for a new agent or even a person who's been in the business 1 year. After a year or two, it's a make or break kind of situation for a new agent to have, in their business. They don't understand that this is a business and it must be treated like a business. So they take these courses and they throw their hands up at some point in their career, and they just either quit the business or they hang on to their licensing, and then they decide to do it part-time where their desire was to do it full-time in the beginning, and now their spark, their energy has gone out.
So I know, and for anybody else who's read the Danger Report, one of the biggest challenges facing our industry in the coming years is part-time agents or just agents who aren't full-time in the business, affecting the professionalism of the business. And I think that's one of the really important things we want to hammer home, like a big part of this boot camp. And I think it's a lost art. It's not just the sales aspect, but it's being a professional. And, because not everybody comes from a business background where we know what what certain courtesies are in business. Some people are coming right from college, and if they didn't have a white collar professional service kind of background, they don't understand. And we think that with this type of program, we can definitely, fill the void. And just like Joe said, I've heard from agents who say, hey, I started at the company. We've heard this for years. It's like, here's your desk. Here's your phone. Thanks so much. You're on your own, right?
Yes. And another thing, just to add to that, is
Sure.
that you cannot operate like a well-known barber, like a barber that goes from barbershop to barbershop, and then they put up this big sign in the window that says, Joe is here, we got Joe. Well, Joe is only good as his book of business is. So how does a new agent build up a book of business and then go to another office? I've seen new agents go from office to office to office. I know of a broker or an agent who has worked in 17 offices for the last 10 years because has not found her niche or her broker that she expected that support, that initial support from. And a broker, let's put it bluntly, a broker is there to hold your license up and to give you that desk and to provide you with that training that you're supposed to have in order to speak to the public. You're asking a new agent to study personalities, to learn the business of a business, to market themselves, to write ads, to install signs. Think about what an agent must know before they go into the business of real estate. And when you take all that together, that broker cannot give that agent that information in 6 weeks' time and expect that agent to be the best top producing agent. It's not going to happen.
Well, let's start with our first unit of what we would be doing in our boot camp style program. It starts with business planning. And, so many people start, the barrier to entry in real estate is what? A couple $1,000s. Hey, I got a couple $1,000. I can get my license. And then, you know what? Next thing you know, I'm going to be a millionaire, just like I watch on HTV, right? I mean, that's their impression sometimes, where it's the millionaire, especially downstate where your average sale price may be so, much higher than we are upstate. And so nobody treats the business like a business plan ahead of time. And we're going to talk about that right off the bat. Right, Joe?
Right. And even though I'm in the car right now, I'm not sitting in my car making $1 million deals from a limousine. That's all fantasy. I'm sorry, but all that stuff, all that garbage that you see on television is garbage, because I'm not going to sit there for an hour and then after the hour is up, I'm going to be selling this $1 million this property. It's a process that most new agents and seasoned agents don't understand, that it takes time to climb up that ladder, especially in real estate. So putting together a business plan, is,
Yeah.
is necessary, and that's the start of your foundation. That's step one.
Okay. So I mean, I totally 1000% agree with you. There's so many people I talk to and they go, you know what? I want to make $100,000. Well, how do you plan to do it? I'm going to sell real estate. Okay. Well, how many houses do you have to sell?
Mm-hmm.